want to start in what I would consider the East of their, eastern part of the country. We have the Atlantic Division champion Tampa Bay Lightning and the reigning Stanley Cup champions facing off against, in my opinion, was quite surprising, but maybe I shouldn't be surprised, Eastern Division champion, the New York Islanders. I'll start on the New York side. New York took Boston to it was 6 games, and what was so surprising about that is they seemed dominant. They seemed absolutely dominant of a team that has been so dominant in the playoffs of late. And Alex, I wanted you to cover the New York Islanders here before I even get into Tampa Bay. Give me your thoughts on that series against the Boston Bruins and how you think they're going to fare against a team that is another juggernaut in the league.
Yeah, I mean, for the Islanders, I mean, they are the team, I think, so far in this playoffs that are playing their game the best. Like, obviously, they're all playing hockey, but the Islanders, their game, just like game 1 of the Tampa series, is going to be low scoring, a lot of defense, good goaltending, where Tampa probably wants to get out, fly, get on the penalty, score 7 goals a game. And that's what the Islanders held Boston in those games. They, there weren't a lot of big, high scoring games. They kept that perfection line somewhat in check, which I think is a good test moving forward for the Tampa series, because it's the perfection team, but even better. I mean, that Tampa team is ridiculous. So, I mean, moving forward, and obviously game 1, the Islanders won 2-1. If you keep Tampa to 1 goal, you're obviously playing your game, which is going to be super beneficial to you. I don't think the Islanders want to get into a 6-4, 6-5 games like the Lightning had with Carolina. And fuck the Lightning for winning, because that ruined my bracket. But I think the Islanders are sneaky. They're just continue to be underrated, and Trotz is proving that he's a great coach.
Yeah. Everything you said completely, explains this Islanders team this year. They're buying into a system and they're sticking by it, and it's a full team effort, like you said. Something that really was really interesting is no forward on that team has higher than an average of 18 minutes a game, and all of them are within a close band. And that it's just showing that they're throwing everybody over the bench. They don't give a shit. Like they're just rolling. And that's how a team needs to play. That, Trotz says, you know what, my 4th line can handle it. Oh, no, my 3rd line can handle it. Who cares if it's Kucherov or Stamkos on the ice? And that just shows that, the guys are buying in. They don't have they don't have the biggest of names on that team. And yeah, they have Matthew Barzal and JG Pajot. Those are big names, but they're not Stamkos. They're not Kucherov. I just love that they're just buying in. And I'm going to flip over to the other side before I ask you another question, Alex. Tampa Bay took over their series against Carolina. It seems like it didn't take long for them to finally, dig their claws in and just completely finish out Carolina. And that was a 5-game series, that one. Kucherov, Braden Point, these guys just continue to make the team excel. I mean, they're playing absolutely amazing. Alex Killorn is really playing an incredible playoff series as well. He's kind of playing that, talk about a glue guy. He's taken over that spot that, I think Blake Coleman kind of played last year on their cup run. He has 13 points for a guy who's, he's a 3rd-line center. I mean, that's excellent for a 3rd-line center. Goaltending wise, Vasilevsky is the only goalie that has played for Tampa Bay, just like last series. And I kind of worry about the amount of miles he's putting on. I wonder if he's able to handle this entire run, 2 runs in a row. And then Alex, you look at the other side, you have Varlamov, who's played 8. You have Sorokin, who's played 5, and between them, they have a .932 save percentage. How are you feeling, while the goalie, save percentages are nearly equal. Who do you give the edge to here?
I think with the team like Tampa, you have to give it to Varlamov because he's a vet. He's been around the league. You're facing Stamkos, Kucherov, Point, Hedman, all these big names, and you give it to him until it goes wrong one time. And I think you have to just play the hot hand. And, obviously big performance in game one, only let one past him. If he continues to play well, don't change it up. Let him ride it. And then moving forward, if you want to go back and forth, go for it. But I just think with Varlamov's overall, history in the league, you kind of have to ride him right now before you go back to Sorokin.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, that's just the way it's going to go. They're gonna ride the hot hand, but I have to give the edge fully to the that goalie staff on that Islander squad, because they can throw in either one and you can feel comfortable. I mean, you're right there. I don't know what Vasilevsky has behind him that can even compare to either of those two right now. What was very interesting about game one, I don't know if you saw it, Alex. Tampa Bay. If you were to guess, I don't know. Did you see the game, Alex?
I did not.
If you were, this is perfect. If you were to guess how many odd man rush chances Tampa Bay had, how many do you think they had?
Let's see. If they only scored one, maybe 6.
A fat goose egg.
Wow.
A fat goose egg. The Islanders out-rushed the Tampa Bay Lightning. I mean, this is a team. This is a defensive team out-rushing, one of the best offensive teams in the league, or one of the best all-around teams if you really want to go down. So this series is a lot more interesting than I even gave it credit for. That first game really showed me that, it wasn't a complete blowout, but the Islanders look real good. And I wonder if the Islanders can pull up what I would consider an upset, but maybe it's not that much of an upset. Maybe I'm being a little too down on the Islanders. So, with all of this, it's a 1-0 series. Next game's tomorrow. Alex, who do you think is gonna round out this series and make it to the Cup final?
Yeah, I really want to pick the Islanders. I think that their defense, specifically in neutral ice, is some of the best in the league right now. They can keep Tampa from going off, but this Tampa team is just really good. I know how tough it is to go back to back. I do think Tampa will eventually their firepower will just overtake it. So I'm gonna go Tampa, but just like you said, it would not shock me if the Isles pulled this one out. Yeah.
I look at Tampa and I just think, they're so deep. They're $8 million over the cap right now. They've managed to use those cap rules to their advantage, where the cap doesn't exist in the playoffs. Keeping Kucherov and Stamkos off the roster until the date of playoffs, and then adding them in, it's not illegal. It's just little sussy. But you're able to do it. And they're able to do it, and I gotta give it to them. And I want to go over to the other two. James, we have a defensive juggernaut against an overall juggernaut. I mean, who do you have in this series?
I think it's wrong to continue calling the Islanders a defensive juggernaut, because they are, but they've also evolved. And you've seen this from this series and the series last. They're actually scoring goals. Last series, especially against the Bruins. This series, they outrushed the Lightning. So I think it's unfair to pigeonhole them into that one little niche of defense. That being said, I want Tampa Bay to win because I don't like the Islanders.
Fair enough. How many games you got?
6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tyler, who do you got in this series, buddy?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Lightning as well. I'm gonna go Lightning in 6. I would. I just, I constantly. I don't think I've ever picked the Islanders to ever win a playoff series, and they continually seem to win playoff series. So, I guess as Alex mentioned, they're very good at playing their style, and it's shown so far in this playoff. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Islanders do take it. But I just want to see Lightning and Knights in the finals so bad. So I'm definitely going to.
Quick question.
Yeah.
real fast. I mean, the likeliness of this scenario happening is very, very small. But how pissed would the world be if the Habs and the Islanders made it to the finals? Would anybody watch that other than me and people in Montreal and in New York?
I think they would. I mean, look, not very many people want to see Vegas make it to the finals because they're too young of a team. And now, again, a normal, rational person looks at that team and is like, wow, that team is amazing to watch. They're fun to watch, regardless if you hate them or not. Would anyone watch them? I don't know, man. I like to say yes because the level of hockey that the Islanders are bringing, and to an extent the Habs are turning heads. I mean, the first 5 minutes of this game, I was like, holy fuck, we might have a series. It's not. They're outshooting the Vegas Golden Knights right now. I mean,
I like 4.
I mean, both of those fan bases in New York and Montreal probably like better, more passionate fan bases than Tampa Bay, Vegas.
No, they're absolutely
so
true.
Like, I mean, for the fans, it'd probably be better, but I think for the rest of the hockey world, I think the Lightning and Knights it's a more exciting matchup.
Yeah, it's a more exciting matchup on the hockey side. But if you look at if we want to go back to history and tradition, those two teams are the oldest in the league, or some of the oldest in the league. Not Islanders are not quite an original 6, but they're the third oldest or second oldest of these groups. And both of these teams have been have dynasties and have been very important teams to the league's history. So it'd be very interesting to see. I don't know how they would fare against each other. It's gonna be they're tough. They're against the two tougher teams in my opinion. But I don't know. I don't think the world. I think Gary Bettman would probably be upset. That is what it is.